Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 1, Bournemouth 0. Everton stay in the Premier League for another year. Don't know if that's we're celebrating, but we are here for another year. We get to keep our jobs, yes. I'm joined by John Blaine. I'm joined by Jack to talk about this. Baz is sunning himself on some Welsh beach.
Baz was prepared for the worst,
He's
wasn't
probably not going to put Mary in though, is he?
No, he's not going to support Mathew, no, because he is not a number. But yeah, a hellish season is over. 10 months of hell, it felt like. I mean, it wasn't all hell, because the World Cup was amazing.
Yeah.
But
Wasn't that a long time ago?
oh my God. And yet America feels like 2 minutes ago.
It does.
It feels like 2 minutes ago, even though it was like 11 months ago.
Yeah.
So 10 months of all that stress and all that strain is over. John, what is your overriding emotion as we sit here 2 days afterwards?
That's a hard question. Yeah. Never again.
Yeah.
So that was in the 90s, twice.
Yeah.
And twice in this. I mean, the emotion, it was weird. I think we talked about it didn't we? Was I never expected anything other than that we would win.
Yeah.
And when you're around people who are a bit more nervous than you, they try and transfer it to you. Don't they?
Yeah.
But I was quite calm about it. And I didn't think once the game's finished, I'm going to go, well, I was never going to run on the pitch, but thank you, it's finished.
Yeah.
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 No great joy, really. You know, I jumped about like the best of them when the Duke did the biz, right? But there was not really, I don't think the manager got it, didn't he? It wasn't really a thing to celebrate, because we shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. I think we had a manager for too long who didn't get enough out the players, and a manager for just long enough who did.
Yeah.
And well done to him. And watching the bipolar Everton behaviour now, which is keep Cody, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche is the best manager ever, and so on, is part of the roller coaster. That's why we do it.
It is,
really.
It is.
You've got to be there for the shit days to be there for the good ones.
Yeah.
And it was a good one for the outcome. But no.
Jack, you experienced it in a different way because you're a poor student. So you experienced it. You weren't at the game. You even had to watch it on a dodgy stream. So I mean, how did your nerves hold up?
Well, not particularly well, because every time the legal Sky Sports broadcaster was watching on, it went down, I got it in my head that there's been a goal.
Yeah.
Traffic to the website. Yeah. But I watched it with a Walsall fan and a Birmingham fan, because that's who I live
Target
with.
audience.
So, but it was almost easier watching it with people who had no stake in it. I wouldn't have liked to been in the room with a Leicester fan or a Leeds fan or anything like that, because it could have come to blows at the end of it. But
did they help calm you a bit? Because they were saying it's not what you think.
Well,
what you think's happening isn't what's actually happening.
They wanted Everton to stay up. And
I got
obviously they don't have as much stake in it as me, so they wanted the same thing, but they're not experiencing it with as much emotion. They just kept telling me how sick I looked. But it was horrible. It was, even after the game, it didn't feel real. Not in a sense of we've accomplished something massive. I can't believe it. Just because I was so stressed, just because I was just so emotional over it. I think for a good hour afterwards, it still felt like we could be relegated, just because it was
That's
like
a good way to describe it.
It was like an emotional come
I'm
down.
going to wake up in a minute.
Not even like that, in a sense of I've got to pinch myself. It doesn't feel real, just because you've thought about it for so long of what could happen, the consequences of what could happen today. You're still just like you're almost still on edge, like you're waiting for someone to take it away from you.
Yeah, I get that, because none of us have ever experienced it. None of us know what it feels like. It's
relegated.
Relegation and death are the two things. They're the great beyond. We don't know how that feels like. So no one can prepare you for something you've never felt before. So I mean that was, that's the big part of it. John, how did you? I mean, I got to the ground pretty early. I was there just after 2:00. But what were your thoughts on the general atmosphere before the game? Because you just said it yourself there about being relaxed. To me, it was like it was good beforehand, and showed you what good days could be like.
It was relaxed. I think there was no. I mean, the fans had got their head into gear, I think, and I think I was listening to you guys doing the thing at 1:30, and everyone was in the mode of, well, we just need to win. So let's focus on us winning. Okay, someone then tells you Leicester are winning, then they tell you it's 2-0.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change anything. We needed to win to be sure, and we still need to win to be sure. And it perhaps helped the players in some respect, because there would always be that little nag, wouldn't there, that maybe a draw's enough. Yeah. You know, and certainly when the team came out, you could decide whether the manager's playing with 3, is he playing with 5, let's keep this point because that might be enough, whatever. But I had family over, of course, Teresa's cousin and his missus and their grandson, and they went to their first ever game at Goodison Park, you know, sort of Colorado Evertonians type of thing, finally getting into the stadium because they feared that this might be their last chance to see this before we move.
Yeah.
And planned it months ago, so to speak. And they were just overwhelmed by it all, the atmosphere side of it.
Yeah. I
mean, you know, they support the Denver Broncos and their stadium holds 80,000 or something, and they were scared shitless in Goodison.
I'm not surprised.
You know, and so we got in early as well.
Yeah. No, but the atmosphere...
We certainly got in for the pre-4 o'clock thing that the fan group was trying to sort out.
The atmosphere outside, I thought it was very relaxed, and it made me feel like what it could be like if there were better days and you did have something, because it was a good atmosphere. I think people got there early. They wanted to, I suppose, ease their way into it rather than maybe just getting there late and going, you know, cold sweat and everything. So the atmosphere was good, and obviously, I said I went in pretty early. I just wanted to go and sit down, grab a drink and of water, and just again let those emotions build as the ground built, rather than, I know the march outside looked absolutely fantastic. County Road looked unbelievable, but I just think if I'd been in that, I think I would have got too hyped up too early, and the emotions would have been would have consumed me. So I did it my way, as Frank Sinatra said. But I thought it was great outside, and obviously you mentioned the team news came out. It was something we mentioned last week. It was like, again, whatever the team is, don't get hung up on it. Yeah. It doesn't matter. If we haven't got players, then we'll probably, if Michalenko's not available, then we'll probably play 3 at the back, and that's how it worked out. Yeah. And it was just a case of, well, don't get hung up about it. What were your thoughts, Jack, when you saw the team?
The team, it's like we spoke about on the preview last week. It was, you can't get too hung up on it. And then you see, obviously, 3 at the back. I thought that was the right move. Mm-hmm. That's what I suggested on the preview as well. Yeah,
there you go.
So, you know, then maybe, I could be Sean Dyche's assistant manager.
Sean watches every time you're on.
Yeah, no, he gets in touch often to tell me. But but obviously you don't care what the team is. But if you've had a preferred, selection in mind, if you see it, that reassures you personally, because it's doing what you think would be right. But it was never really going to matter what the team was in terms of fan atmosphere, because we just had to back it. Anyway, this wasn't a day for I told you so's, or why is he not doing that? If he did that, he's playing keen, he'll make a mistake, that'll prove me right. That it shouldn't have been about that Sunday, and obviously it wasn't. And I think he picked a team that a lot of people did like and thought was probably our best bet. But normally, you see the team come out on Twitter and you look at the comments and you'll see, this is boss, or what are you doing here? I didn't see any of that. No. On Sunday it was all just, come on, we can do it. Let's just win. There was no one really cared about who those 11 individuals were. They just wanted those 11 individuals to just put 100%.
So the thing you said, and I think you talked on the live as well before about it's different if you're watching it in the ground versus watching it somewhere else. And the only, if you want to call that negative vibe stuff that I got on WhatsApp, was for people who for various reasons couldn't come. Yeah. So they were watching it at home, and the team comes out. I remember a mate did a little quite long for WhatsApp thing, basically slagging off the club for not being able to fill the bench. And we're in the fan zone at the back of the park end, shrugging. Yeah,
going, doesn't matter, does it?
You can get into that anytime,
can't you? Really just goes down a spiral, doesn't it?
Tomorrow, but on Sunday it just has to be, look, it's there, it's what we've got to work with, let's do something with it.
We're never going to score though, were we?
That's the kind of stuff though, isn't it? That's the kind of stuff where...
And then that thing happens.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff where we can talk about that all week, about why can't we fill the bench, or why have we got 2 goalkeepers on the bench, or whatever. That's the kind of thing you can talk about all week. And when it comes to the game day, I just forget all that kind of stuff. I generally do a lot of the time anyway. And what I was happy with, I think in the last few weeks, Sean Dyche has come to a realisation that maybe Michael Keane isn't the right player, and therefore Conor Cody in a 3 is the right player. Yerry Mina has been fantastic the last few weeks, and it was the right team. It was the right team, but like you just said, it's the right team because they're the only players you've got, and it's just fitting into a system. And then comes the hard bit. How does this team score goals? I mean, the team come out, it was an incredible atmosphere. I couldn't even hear the sirens. That's how loud it was in the Gladys seat. I couldn't hear even the fire. Apparently fireworks went off. Couldn't hear.
We could see them.
I couldn't hear them. I couldn't hear the siren. Couldn't hear Z cars. I couldn't even see it with them come out because I've got a big flag in front of me. But the noise was just absolutely deafening. Absolutely deafening. And yeah, the game, it went as a lot of games go for us, or have been this season, where you have control, or you have an element of control. Okay, they can have more possession, everything, but it's creating, like you just said, John. It's that was always going to be the obstacle. It doesn't matter who was playing. It's how are we going to score goals today? Because the playing Ghana at Mathew, you're fitting them in. You're saying, can you two just run up and down all day? And it was that thing of like, can they get forward? Can they defend? Well, yeah, they can, but just not quite enough either way. And I think that really limited us in creating chances. Saying, well, the whole game, not just the first half.
Whole season. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's followed us the whole season, hasn't it? And that first half, I think I heard pretty early that Leeds were getting beat. And
2 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I wasn't really worried about Leeds. It was obviously the Leicester situation. But I thought as a crowd, John, I thought we stayed quite calm.
Even when the shower was singing,
Did they sing?
Yeah, they did briefly. Did they? Briefly when we were in the bottom 3.
Oh, okay. I never heard. What were they singing?
Like you're going down, yeah.
God,
whatever they call Southampton, they have a name. I couldn't quite catch it.
They're braver people than I thought they were.
Yeah. I heard them singing like
800 of them.
You go into Coventry, I think. We picked up on the telly.
I mean, that's even braver knowing that there was Evertonians above them.
I was surprised 800 of them turned up.
Probably all travelled in the same car, didn't they?
Yeah. Hey?
Probably all travelled in the same car.
Yeah.
She's got a limo. She's got a limo to her away game.
But when you just said briefly, the manager finally realised what Michael Keane might be part of a problem. But in Mina and Cody, he put characters into the team.
Yeah.
Because there's no characters in it really. No. There's no one who's going to, apart from say Pickford getting very animated. Yeah. There's nobody. They're all, and those two, well, particularly Mina, he just talks non-stop.
Yeah.
Non-stop to everybody.
Gets in people's faces.
He does, yeah. And it's just sad that he can't stay fit.
Well, it doesn't really matter now. He's not an Everton player.
That's what I mean. He's gone.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I've got this feeling that he's going to go somewhere, and in 6 months' time,
he'll win.
Someone's going to be linking him back to the Premier League with one of the big boys. I really do.
If he stays fit,
it's keeping him fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's keeping him fit. It always has been the problem. He's played 45% of the Everton games he's been in, and you can't give someone a new contract based on that.
Especially
you just
with
can't.
His wages.
And his wages. He's on probably one of the highest earners, if not the highest earner. Obviously, we've got this sentimentality towards him. We know he's a good character. We want him to do well, but you just can't have that. And you hear people say, "Give him a pay as you play." It's like, why would he take a pay? He could he can get a good wage in Turkey. I imagine people in Spain will look at him. Italy, the warm weather, I imagine, will do him the world of good. And you know what? For him as well, he might be ready for a change. He might not understand that a less tough league. Because it is that, isn't it? It is how tough the Premier League is.
There's no easy games.
There's no easy games. People are smashing into you.
Yeah.
You're having to go full sprint from dead to sprint. You can see the strain that has on people. Whereas in other leagues, you might just coast through it. And it is a massive loss to us, I think, like you've just said, as a character. But that's the void that we have to fill.
But he's been here 5 years, hasn't he, right? And he's appeared in a little more than double the games for Everton that Tarkowski has.
That's it, isn't it?
And Tark's done it in one season.
But that's it, isn't it?
So this time next year, Tark might went deep into cups. He might be as more.
But that's why we bought Tarkowski, wasn't it? We bought him because we knew how reliable he was, and he's played every minute this season.
He's a 6-7 every game,
and that's why we bought him, and that's why it was a really inspired signing.
Yeah.
people, you can't look at it and say, well, he's gone through another relegation fight. But that's why we bought him, to have someone in there this season, and hopefully next season we have someone else alongside. And that's why the manager when Lampard went with Cody and him, because he knew how reliable they were as a partnership. And obviously, I think that was a big mistake, breaking them two up. Even though it didn't maybe not necessarily seem like it at the time, but bringing Michael Keane into the team. I know he scored the worldie against Tottenham. I'll give him that, but that was one of the mistakes he made.
Assist at Wolves.
Yeah, he did get
talk down to
but he did
Michael.
But he came off the bench on that to go right back and up front.
Yeah.
Utility man.
Yeah. And I actually heard before the game on Sunday that the manager was actually seriously considering playing him up front in this game.
That's crazy.
And that was from a very reliable source.
Well, his first touch before he put it to me now was brilliant. This is a guy who bloody can let the ball roll past him.
The thing is with Michael Keane, his twin brother's a striker. But he's not a particularly good striker. He had a good spell at Wigan the other year, but before that, I think he had about 15 career goals across about 200 appearances. And I wonder sometimes maybe where they mixed up, not at birth obviously, but maybe they went to the wrong trials or something, or maybe they went to the trials and then they went to the wrong clubs. And his brother Will Keane went to Man United as the centre back, or as the striker. Sorry, he was meant to be the centre back, and Michael's meant to be the striker, and he's playing centre back. And neither of them's really been able to do it in the real position because they're the wrong way.
It's like that Disney film with Lindsay Lohan where the twins and they go the opposite.
Swap over.
They swap over.
I've not seen it.
I think it's just the Matrix.
Yeah.
Downloads coolness and technical ability, but only when he's in the opposite penalty.
Maybe, yeah.
Penalty area. Yeah.
Maybe.
Does he wear sunglasses?
Yeah. He has to be within 7 yards of the opposition's goal for it to work. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. But I think
he'll still be here next year.
I think as the game went on, saying that first half, we weren't exactly making chance. There was a lot of just little moments, there's a lot of penalty shouts.
None of them were real, were they?
No, not really. But I think the heightened sense of normally it was a normal game of good.
Someone tell me what's the Stone Cold, the certain penalty that Robbie Savage saw.
He saw the one where I think he saw the one where Gray
fell over.
Looks like he gets there first, but what he actually does is kick the back of the defender, and he skims.
Was he doing that live?
It was.
Oh right, okay.
It was the one where he sort of kicked the underneath.
Oh, the kick, yeah. So there's one where he goes like that to win the ball, and as he goes like that, the Bournemouth play looks like he kicks the bottom of his foot.
All right.
So yeah, you could see that given on another day, and on another day the crowd might have just gone, "Get up, lad." But I think on Sunday it was just so heightened that everyone.
It was every time someone fell over.
I think Sunday we were constantly on the cusp of having chances. We kept nearly having chances. Didn't we? We just kept wouldn't get the ball into the box right. We overhit quite a few corners and crosses.
Yeah, I think the corners were off, weren't they, for some reason?
The corners have been off for a while, haven't they? But there was an agency, wasn't it? At least you could see the players wanted it, that extra little yard, that they would run for that extra little yard. They would make up 2 yards if they needed to, just to stop them from playing a simple ball down the line, because they were trying to get it in behind the two wing backs, trying to use their pace to get in between them. It never really worked because we were switched onto it. But you could see players just going that extra little yard, knowing how important the game was, and as the crowd did stay with them. And I thought even when Leicester got the goal, I think it's happened simultaneously with one of those penalty, non-penalty decisions. And I re-watching it, listening to the commentary, and Gary Neville suggested, the place has gone really quiet. But I don't think it got round the ground that quick.
No,
I don't really think there was where I was, there was never a thing of there was person next to you might have gone, Leicester have scored.
That's all it was, yeah.
Yeah, there was never this thing of Leicester have scored, whereas you saw, when you seen the images at Leicester when we scored, there was a real oh my God, and I don't think that ever happened.
No, it didn't. I don't think it did. Well, not where I was anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No.
And I think as we started to then generate chances, and obviously we had the Idrissa Gana Gueye one, which I actually thought he hit it too well. he just put his foot right through it, and keepers. It's a good save, easy save. Sorry, typical save. But I, to me, Jack, I thought if he'd scuffed that or put one low to the ground,
low would have gone in.
Yeah, it was almost like a little bit too predictable for the keeper, where he was predicting obviously a well-timed shot, and if it had just been a little bit more awkward, it probably gets the better of the keeper there because of the angle that it's on.
And then we had, I think, the only other chance. We had one. We started to put a lot of balls into the box late into the half, and Yerry Mina made the goalkeeper sort of punch one away, and then James Garner has one, John, where you think from certain angles, you think that's going top corner, that's going over it, but again, the keeper
a few inches higher, and he picked it. He decided what he was doing very early, and he aimed for it and didn't quite get it high enough. Yeah. They'd had a few moments as well, just little scary moments, hadn't they? There was obviously the one with Tarkowski, where he gives the ball to them and Mina
bails
him out,
totally, and then the other one is where the lad, it's a miss-hit, isn't it? I think it's not far before our time as well. It's a miss-hit from outside the box. It ends up inside the box, and then the lad just puts a ball that just rolls so slowly.
Yeah, waiting for someone to... Yeah.
Either someone knocks it in but it's just those moments, those agonising moments. But we got to our time, 0-0, and you have a chance to collect your thoughts, don't you? You know Leicester are winning, you know Leeds are doomed, and it simply becomes a shootout then, doesn't it, between you and Leicester. What were your thoughts at our time, John?
The same as before. It was pretty boring. I expected us to score, and when I was saying that to people, I was adding on to it, So the thing is, we can't concede, because I think that's what would have got really into their heads. But if you look back at it, you think we never really created anything. No. And then that ball comes out to Decore and he smacks it.
Come on to that, John. Steady on.
But the people around me were well into the worried category. Rachel, who sits next to me, if we get a penalty, she's the sort who head goes down, head in hands. She spent most of the second half like that. And surprisingly, her brother, who sits to her right, was in the same mode. And after the game had finished, she was now happy and buoyant because we're okay. And he was still stuck in this. It's all been too stressful. Yeah. Let's go home, sort of thing.
It's the enormity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolute enormity of it. And I think half-time certainly give me just that chance to just refocus and think, right, you've 45 minutes to get a goal. And I honestly thought if we got one, we were going to get four.
I thought we'd get more than one. Yeah. And what I did like when we did score was how you talked about the players running around a bit. They all stepped that up in the classic. We're not going to concede straight away. Yeah. And then it just played out. Good game management then.
We come out second half, and I think Jordan Pickford had mentioned that the manager hadn't mentioned anything about Leicester at half time. Just keep doing the job. He said, they knew, but it was a case. I'd been on Radio 5 on Friday night, and we were talking about it. And
it's on national radio all the time, isn't it? Yeah.
And I mentioned it, like, they were, how do you think about Everton? The pressure on. They tried to make it look like the pressure was all on us. I was like, at some point in this game, I imagine we'll be in the bottom three in the live table. I said, I imagine it'll happen. I said, but
doesn't change.
We're never really in the bottom three, are we? It's a case of we just keep doing what we're doing. Yeah. And to me, the mindset when Leicester went 1-0 up is like, well, we've got to score to get back into the game. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like, we're playing Leicester here almost. We've got to get a goal to get back into this game.
To me, though, that was my mentality, really, because obviously, it stops the Leicester's half time as well. You initial reactions like, the live table as it stands.
Of course, you'll have got all that one,
you see all that on the screen and that. But then, I thought to myself, look, we're not playing that bad yet. We're the better of it, really. We've not made solid chances, but, we're on the cusp of doing something here. Let's just keep going. If this was any other game, you'd feel confident about a win, really, because you're playing better.
That's a unique perspective, though, obviously, that me and John didn't get. The TV side of things is completely different because you have all these images of how it'll look to see Leicester fans celebrating if they stay up, or Leeds fans celebrating, and it almost like rubbing it in your face. But when you're in the ground, you don't have to deal with that.
That's
like
true.
You as someone who's watching on TV and I'm having to watch the flip-flop of, Everton have scored, let's go to Leicester and see how their fans are breaking down, or let's look at the Everton. Get on an Everton fan, find him crying when Leicester have scored. And we don't have to deal with that. We have to deal with Everton just doing their job. But for you, How is that experience of having to watch it like that?
Well, to be honest, one thing that really caught me by surprise is normally, you know, when you've got the game on Sky Sports and it switches over to another game to show you because there's been a goal. It switches over to Leicester about 10 minutes in, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go, they've scored, and they just had a half chance.
Yeah.
And so they put the highlight on, and you can see Leicester attacking, and I'm like, let's go, oh, God's sake, they've scored, and they haven't. But that's just playing on your mind all day.
Because the other thing he has to suffer is the editorial. Which is your point, the messaging they want to project, and the commentator wants to project.
Well, you
said Neville saying, it's gone deathly quiet here. You know. No, it didn't.
It hadn't.
Well, they kept going to Leicester, you know, obviously Leicester fans celebrate, and it kept going to these two fellas as well, and they had like an old school walkie-talkie, and they must have had someone from
two guys.
Sure, it wasn't a radio.
It was a radio, I think.
Sure, it wasn't a radio. What? How old
it's a radio.
I don't know.
An old school. What would you think was on the other end? Hannibal going on the 18.
Well, I'm thinking maybe they've got a fella in Goodison live reporting the score.
How do you think walkie-talkies work?
Very short distances. Yeah.
No, but
they were radios.
But
they had them pinned to their ears, didn't they?
Yeah. But they had the radio pinned to their ear, and they just kept cutting to the same two fellas who, like, I don't know why they didn't, like, so we'd see their reaction and we'd know the Everton score, even though we had the Everton game on.
The thing was, at Leicester, apparently, there was, it happened 3 times where Leicester thought Bournemouth had scored. Like, it was proper, like, and I've experienced this from when it happened in 94. I mean, 94, there were obviously no mobile phones.
No old school walkie-talkies.
Properly radios. No old school. Well, they were just walkie-talkies then. They weren't old school in 94. They were top of the technology tree. You went to Tandy and you bought one.
Tandy, remember that, eh?
94, but that's what it was like. It was like false rumours circulating.
Oh, they did, yeah.
And also like false narratives. So I remember in 94, people telling us a draw would be enough. So at 2-2, people were quite content.
That's crazy. But we had to win.
We had to win, but we didn't know that till we'd won. So it almost took the pressure because at 2-2...
we could have won and gone down.
No, I know, but at 2-2, there was a rumour going around that all the other results were going our way.
So this is okay.
So this is okay. So when we ended 3-2 up in that game, it was like, well, now we can't get beat. So we're fine, because they'd have to score 2, not knowing that that's a load of bollocks. So... But now, obviously, with I mean, you still couldn't get that. Everyone's like that on live score going like that, and you just couldn't get a signal. Or if you could, it was giving you it from like 10 minutes before because that's what it was frozen. But believe the Leicester fans, some of them were going up to the press box, going, "What's the scores?" And they were like, "No, Bournemouth haven't scored."
There's videos of them full on celebrating, cheering.
Was there?
And also the West Ham fans started celebrating when we scored, like properly going like. There's been a kinship since they beat Leeds, hasn't there? We're all backing them now. Come on, Moisey. We're all backing them now for the conference. But yeah, the lead they were properly giving it to the Leicester fans, as you would. So, and that's where when people go, oh yeah, you know, you'd rather be in our position. It's like, no, you wouldn't. We win, we stay up. That's the end of it, and that's what I was saying. I went on Radio 5, and they were like trying to create this narrative of like, oh yeah, if you know, what will you do? It's like, well, what we'll do is we'll keep doing what we do. And that's what we did do. We came out, and the job was still exactly the same. Go and score a goal. And when it came, it was just unbelievable. I think, was the great chance first with the goal he saved? I can't quite remember. So we'd had the great chance where the keeper had got that, he had a header, and the keeper had got down low.
The great chance was first.
First, wasn't it?
Was.
And that was like,
the poor header, wasn't it?
That was like, how on earth have we missed that chance? And don't get me wrong, at no point did I feel like it wasn't going to come, but it was either going to be off someone's backside, or it was going to be an absolute screamer.
Yeah.
And I think we got a free kick.
Who needs Barry on, eh?
Well, same position as Farley's, wasn't it? I think we got a free kick.
Farley, yeah, even closer. Yeah.
We got a free kick and we played it wide. I think Tarkowski kept it alive. Then we put it in there. Fellas knocked it down. And I honestly I just don't remember it. Like, I just seen someone winding their leg, and the next thing, it was like, this is what it must feel like to be in a car crash. It was just like, you see something, and then the next minute it's just bodies. Bodies, and your body doesn't even have time to react. It's so instantaneous. I don't know if people who don't watch football have experienced these things, because you don't consciously. I certainly didn't
react.
You just react.
Yeah.
And the next minute, there's just bodies everywhere, limbs,
it's
people on top.
Pure unfiltered emotion, isn't it?
Just pure unfiltered. And you don't even care. Luckily enough, it's my sister, but you don't care. Like, and the fella you might have been arguing with all season over
whatever,
or you don't even speak to that fella or whatever. Luckily I do. But you're just grabbing hold of anything, aren't you?
That's
and
right,
just trying to get those. And it was just bedlam.
And it took that long from where we were sat or stood, right? Because we're in the park end and the goal's there. It took that long for the ball to leave his foot and reappear past the defenders, and we knew it was a goal then.
Yeah.
Because the keeper was still stood there.
Yeah.
You know, like you say, everyone goes up. I never saw it hit the net.
No, I think I might have sort of hit the net, but I
Never
don't think I
saw it
saw
hit the net.
anything in between. I don't think I seen the ball travel from his foot to the net. I just seen the net and the celebrating.
Well, I saw the beginning bit.
Yeah, because it's just so. And
We could join, splice them together. We'd have the whole thing. But it was, yeah. And then we kept wanting to put it on the screen so we could see it properly. Yeah.
Well, see, for me, because obviously it was a slightly different viewing experience in those moments where you can clearly see him hit it and you know what he's going for, you know what can happen. It almost feels like you experience about 10 minutes of emotion in that half a second. It feels like you get through so many thoughts. You're thinking, top corner, please do it. Stay up. Like everything rushes through your head. And it was the same thing when they had that chance later in the game, the volley that Pickford saved. That seemed to just hang just above the floor for about 20 minutes because so much emotion goes through your body in that period.
I mean, and then you've got something, and then you're looking and thinking, there's still half an hour left here, and you don't even know about the extra 10 minutes.
Well, I do Fergie time.
But then don't you? I always had on loads more because I think, well, if they had on 7, then you know where you are. But then obviously because the Pickford thing, I knew it was going to be 9 or 10. But you're 50 and you're thinking, just go get another one. And you wait, you're thinking, now Bournemouth, go home. Like, what are you doing? Go home. Like, when they'd had moments, I thought Billing was excellent. I thought he won't be at them very long. And then Solanke started thinking he was going. Solanke, you'd see the switch. Solanke went, I'm going to be the hero here. I'm going to dine out on this forever with the Liverpool fans. I am going to dine out. And he started getting in people's fit. I don't know how he didn't get sent off, by the way, because he got booked. I think he went through Cody and he went through Pickford. I've got no idea how he stayed on the pitch. And then they brought Kiefer Moore on. And it was like, oh, God. It's like, what are you... Go home? What are you doing? Like... We did that nonsense.
You don't read the script.
Probably, and I think, did we beat? Yeah.
They could have took 6 points from us that season, and you got fellas saying, you know, they remember when Everton relegated. We couldn't have done more to help them.
There was no one there. It was an empty ground. They got relegated and they beat us 3-1.
Yeah, it was during the COVID.
We couldn't have done less in that game, could we?
Imagine if we'd have went down because the Bournemouth players have a combined IQ of 7 and thought we relegated them, so they came back.
There was probably none of the players from that day playing anyway. We'll have to go back and look. But we certainly did not relegate them. The funny, I must admit though, the funniest moments is David Brooks went down injured, and my sister was berating him, and I turned around, I went, he's just recovered from cancer. You're a horrible person. And she just looked at me. She went, oh, is he in my gang? Is he? Went, yes, he is. And she still kept on giving him loads because he kept on going down. But I was just like, what are you... It wasn't like, you're going to Vegas next week.
That's right.
Stop being knobheads. What are you doing?
Don't get injured and miss your job.
It's like you've gone 0 down. You've got no excuse. You can
put your foot in for an hour. You've done enough.
You're 1-0 down. You're not getting out of here alive.
That's right.
Your fans are not getting out of here alive. If you, but they didn't. They just and they kept on. Then Kiefer Moore started being a nuisance. They had obviously they had the one where he put him to the back post and he knocked it down, and Cody's had to kick it away, and that led to the little skirmish between Pickford and Solanke. And then that's where the extra 5 minutes comes from, on top of the 5 minutes that was already going to be. And you're just waiting, aren't you, to make that one chance. I think the Corey had one on the left-hand side where he was clear, and it was just like...
We had a few breaks, didn't we?
Yeah. But I mean, what were your overriding emotions then, John, when you just think, what did he do?
Well, I thought they were putting themselves about from early on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they got this. The story was out there that you haven't trained all week. You go to Vegas next week. You're on your holidays. You've lost 3 on the bout or 4, whatever it was. Blah blah blah. And they obviously a coach had said to them, this lot are going to be scared, so and they were messing around, wasting time and all those sorts of things. So I think that's the long answer. The short answer was, I think I was conditioned to it, and it just wasn't impacting me. I just had no doubt that it was going to be all right. And because I do the Fergie time thing, when they say 10 minutes, everyone around me knows I do it, so they're asking.
I do as well.
People start blowing the whistle after 8, 9 and 50 seconds or something. And I'm looking going, it was only 35 minutes gone.
It slows left.
So no, I was really chilled. Really chilled.
What were your emotions towards the end, Jack? Because obviously they were starting to get a little bit of joy with that ball to keep for more.
They were, yeah.
They were. And don't get me wrong.
It helped it was up the other end.
I don't think there was a general sense of like panic or anything like that. I don't think anyone was panicking, but they were starting to get that little, and I personally thought Solanke should have got a second yellow card. And I'm thinking, when you're thinking the narratives, the script being written here, Solanke gets the equaliser, and the more it went on, the more I'm thinking this is something stupid's going to happen here. But I mean, again, you're watching it at home I imagine on a minute delay on the stream, You had the dodgy you're a student, it's fine, mate. No one's going to come and arrest you.
I'll never work for Sky Sports if you carry this on. I think I must have looked physically sick at the time, just with nerves. Not even because I'm very different to John in this sense, because as much as I try not to be, I am a worst case scenario kind of guy. But they weren't even on top of us as such. But like you say, it just feels like the script. 10 minutes at a time. Solanke's still somehow on the pitch. Big Keith Moore on. It just all felt a little bit too perfect to go against us. Leicester's over, so it's completely in our hands. Now, what happens in this last 10 minutes will decide our fate. There's no one who can help us now. So it just. And
our game was going to finish first, wasn't it?
That was the other thing.
So the other game was the other
thing I was thinking as well, because obviously when they went 2-0, went 2-0, and there was like when West Ham had scored, there was that little thing of like, if West Ham could score now, then even sort of the worst happens, we might be all right. But then when the 10 minutes goes up, not only am I thinking, well, it's 10 minutes, it's another 10 minutes, I'm thinking, our game's going to finish after Leicester.
That's right.
And you're going to get that thing again, that Sky Sports thing of...
They love it.
Because I've been watching... No, the problem is, I'd watched the Bundesliga the day before. So I've watched the scenario of, the home team just has to turn up and win, and because they're playing someone who doesn't care. And Dortmund fall to bits, don't they? They fall to bits. And then then it's the last minute, and Bayern Munich, then they're winning it, then and all celebrating, and then Bayern Munich go and score another one, and then Bayern Munich finishes early, and they're all round this phone. Someone's got a phone and they're watching it on the pitch. All
That's what they were.
And this is what I'm thinking. And then it has come out. I mean, I didn't, but you see the Leicester players around, someone who's refreshing. And I'm thinking, this is the narrative that Sky wants. They're all here because they know that that's a narrative. Like, you've got Sky, you've got the Americans, Tim Howard was there.
Yeah.
You've got like the TV station from I can't remember what they're called. They're from Asia, but Alan Stubbs. So they're live with Alan Stubbs, and they're all here to watch our doom.
It's like the reverse of the Man City winning the title in 2012, and they obviously won it not because of an anti-Everton bias, just because it is.
No, it's a narrative. You want to see a massive thing happen.
I just mean from the sense that it's great TV from a neutral perspective.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's all over at the King Power, the Leicester players around. It's the 98th minute. Solanke, Kiefer Moore.
That's it.
It's great TV for the neutral. And a lot of people seem to dislike us, so a lot of people would have, revelled in that, elite.
Well, it's not even that. It's like I watched the playoffs yesterday, so I'm watching Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh God!
And then they've had a goal disallowed, and Barnsley are down to 10 men, and it's going to penalties, and then there's a last minute winner. And I know they would have liked pens, but the narrative, it's, oh my God, it's the last minute winner. And it's, oh my God. And you go, as a neutral, you're sitting there going, oh my God, look at this thing that's just happened. And for all the neutrals out there watching our game, they're like, oh my, it is that Aguero. It's not, the Aguero moment's not amazing because it's Man City. It's amazing because it's a second. It's like, where were you when this happened?
Yeah.
Something that like won some on the league. And because leagues, look at Man City this season, they've won a league, and it's just like, meh,
again.
They won the league. They won it. They won it last week. Blah, blah. They didn't even win it. Arsenal lost against Forest. They had that moment. The Sky had that moment taken off them.
Yeah.
Whereas they wanted a moment where they can see it in real time and it affect the people.
It's really helpful, wasn't it, that our game finished after the others? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly for them.
Oh, we'll go across the Goodson Park now where they're still playing.
All eyes waiting for that one moment.
An equaliser here.
Yeah,
will change
one goal.
everything.
Leicester have done their bit. Leeds have already gone. No one cares.
Yeah.
But that one moment.
Yeah.
And they nearly got it. Kiefer Moore again. Knocked down. And although, it's a volley, and although, who was it? Someone came out and said, oh, it's a simple save, and it was Mason or whoever. I think even Nev might have said it yesterday. But he had to make it.
He did.
It's down to the...
He had to make sure it went away as well.
Yeah, it's down, and it's like... And it's that thing of like everyone in the ground is like, that's the moment we've been almost dreading.
And it's happened and it's in the past now.
And it could have hit someone's arse and gone the other way.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think it was because it was a clean strike. Yeah.
He had a clear sight of it as well.
Probably a standard save, but that is the moment, isn't it? That just makes you think, oh my God.
It's like you say, the moment you've been dreading the thinking like, oh, what if they get a chance, and they get that chance, and it's a good chance as well. And you're just thinking, like I say, you just experience so much. It's like you have enough time in that moment where it's going, and you have enough time to write a book on the emotion.
I know, that strike took ages. Whereas the Corey, boom.
Well,
but that took like...
It did. I mean, because I've not watched it on the telly, really. Yeah. And I'm trying to think now, and you will be able to tell me, how did the ball get to the guy who took the shot?
Well, it was a long ball.
Yeah, but it just seemed like from the moment when you realise he's going to have a shot, and then him taking the shot, and then it being saved, and then you want to know where it's gone, was about an hour.
That's like that's the 95th minute. So that goes in. There's
5 more minutes.
Very little time to do anything about it, and there's Ellis Sims is already on the pitch, so it's not like you can make mass changes. Probably would have brought Michael Keane. Looked like he was coming on in the 90th minute, and then he sat him down. I don't know why. Then you would have brought Michael, and then it would have been that TV spectacle of 5 minutes, and then that 5 minutes goes. Like, when they put 5 minutes board on and you need a goal, although what was weird last week at Wolves, 9 minutes last week at Wolves felt like 15 minutes. It was mad. The only time I've ever experienced time where it actually was good for us.
Oh, right.
But no, it was, honestly, because after about 5 minutes last week at Wolves, their fans were whistling. I'm like, there's loads of time left. There's still loads of time. And this is why I think they should have a proper clock at games so that we can all, and the players understand, you've got time.
Chill.
Calm down. Yeah. The manager can make subs in real time, not in like, how long have I got left, really? But then when I don't know what, it was just that moment. I don't think anyone felt this was going to be fine, but I don't think they had another chance after that. And actually, it was quite calm. And our players kept on going, and they kept on making those. And even in that last minute, when they get the ball on the left-hand side, and you think they only have to whip on in now. But then this kind of guy goes over, smack, makes you go out for the throw.
He was everywhere.
They force it the other way.
He was everywhere again.
And the ref done the thing that they always do. He blew right on 9 minutes, but he also was as close to the tunnel as he could possibly be, and that's always a good sign.
Yeah.
If the referee's on the other side of the pitch, he ain't blowing a whistle. So get as close. And he was like, I'm getting off here. That was it.
Gone.
And that was it. And we knew it was in our hands. We knew it was all over. There was obviously the outpouring of emotion. Obviously, clowns went on the pitch. I'm sorry, you're clowns. You are clowns. Can't say it any other way. You are clowns. Grown men, you're clowns. Kids, I understand.
Grown men sliding on their knees.
Grown men with kids. Clowns. Kids, I get it. And when they see other kids on there, they're going to...
want to do it.
I mean, amazing... Don't run past me. I'm being paid overtime.
Ring of steel.
Unbelievable. It wouldn't have been like that if we'd lost. Would have been a ring of steel.
Yeah.
Shields, honestly. But no, clowns, because it wasn't the time for it, was it, John? It wasn't.
No.
We were staying up in the Premier for another year, but there's so much to fix at this club. It wasn't. It was an amazing. Again, it was that relief, but the relief lasted, and then it was a case of fans would need to tell this football club what needs to happen next.
Yeah, well, Ian Wright got the final word on that, didn't he?
He did. He got a great one. If you haven't seen today,
I have, yeah.
He's ripped it
tremendous.
To bits. But I did feel, it was great hearing the chants, sack the board, and all that kind of thing. I did feel a little bit sorry for, I don't know, destroyed some of the players this season. But I did feel sorry for some of the people, like Yerry Mina.
Didn't get a moment.
Then he got his moment. That's his last game.
Yeah. Tom Davis might be gone.
Davis probably his last ever. Yeah. Time at Everton. Connor Cody potentially his last time at Everton. And I think there's definitely a time for players to be able to go, we're coming to applaud you. You're stayed. The fans stayed. The majority of the fans stayed.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a little bit of a sad that they never got that opportunity to say to the fans, thank you, thank you for being here, selling out home and away for the entire season.
Again,
you know, there wasn't like mass anger. We know where the anger's going to be directed to. They're not even at the game. The players deserve to come and give us a round of applause. Yeah. And I thought that was sad that never happened, because a few people thought, I'm going to go on the pitch because I'm going to be able to go, oh, look at me, I'm on the pitch, or go over and ask someone for the shirt.
The thing that annoyed me about the pitch invasion and run on is we had that last year, and I understood it last year. It was a big release, big comeback. First time a lot of us, people my age had experienced like a relegation fight. I understood all that. But it was treated in the aftermath as it was a success. We've achieved something here, we've stayed up and now it's framed and it's in Finch Farm and it's something the club have used it to look at as, a big, this was an achievement for us. What a day in Everton's history, the day we stayed up. And we have to just completely stay away from that this year, because we have to let them know we haven't succeeded, but any success we have had in staying up has been in spite of this board.
I mean, luckily enough, it wasn't loads.
It was nowhere near
it wasn't
the scale
loads of people,
year.
and the majority of the people who stayed in the ground actually booed the people who were on the pitch, telling them to get off. And the way the police done it as well didn't really allow people to stay on the way they'd done it. But I just felt like the players deserved the opportunity to say thank you to us.
Yeah.
And I think people stayed behind for that as well. And that's been taken away from them. So that is the way it is, isn't it? We move on, but it's nothing to be celebrating. We stayed up, and listen, it's not going to be easy, is it? We've still got a Premier League commission to come. We've still got we're financially, it's not going to get any better without selling players.
No.
If you watch the Tunnel Access video, you'll see a clip of Onana, and he looks like he's basically sitting there thinking, this is the last time I'm playing here as well. By his body language.
Oh, right.
Just by his body language, he looks like he's sitting there going, got Yerry Mina, he knows it's his last time, and big 74 days it is now till the start of the season.
Crazy, isn't it?
A lot to sort out. Hopefully that investment comes in. Hopefully the board gets rejigged, and hopefully we can move on and definitely not let this happen again.
Well, yeah, and some little tricks like you guys were saying on the live. Let's still have the same manager this time next season.
Yeah, But saying before,
because that revolving door, is crazy, and there will be people out there, and many of us would have not necessarily say he's our first choice when he came through the door. We talked here on the channel 4 or 5 months ago now, whenever it was, that if he can get close to walking that talk, we'll be all right. Yeah. Well, he got just about close enough to walking that talk, and he's done some good speeches since, which look, well thought through and almost like professionally prepped type of thing, preparing the groundwork for where we need to be.
Yeah.
But of course, it immediately gets interpreted as throwing the director of football under the bus, and there's going to be some power activities there about whether we really are a director of football type model, or whether we've got a manager now saying, you know what, you lot have been screwing it up for so long, I'm doing this. And
I think, I mean, we'll have to wait.
The changes at top table will fix that.
But also,
because you get the welcome
perspective.
Absolutely.
But I also think where we were this time last year to where we are now, I think the fellow we had last year was a fantasist.
Well, he's just said it, hasn't he? We thought we'd done well to stay up, and he's rightly said no.
Yeah,
we've got away with it.
Yeah,
and if we don't get a grip, we might not get away with it this time next season.
But I do think we had a fantasist last season who thought it was all going to change and it was all going to come back and they were all going to play this amazing, nice football. Yeah. I think what we've got now is a fella who's like,
very down to it.
Yeah, he'll make things happen rather than wait for them to happen.
If we have to go out and buy a dog of a centre forward who's going to win all the headers so that someone can get onto the knockdown, that's what we're going to have to do. Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to. To me, what he said after the game was a case of like, what he did say is brilliant. I mean, it's there on our channel if anyone's going to watch it, but it's a case of. So for us next season, it's about getting another 6 points.
Yeah.
It's not about getting another 20 points. It's about getting another 6 points. Yeah. It's about getting that home record sorted. It is about making Goodison Park a place where people don't want to come. I mean, we're in the bottom 3 for home form this season.
Yeah.
You know, Everton. You always could no matter what, could hang your hat on Goodison Park. Oh, it's a tough place to go. It's not. It's definitely not. It's not a tough place to go at all because we've made it. And even to be fair, even on the dice, the games we've lost, we have to make Goodison Park a place that people do fear coming. Everybody, you know, Man City, whether they're going for the league, shouldn't be going 3-0 there, no worries, I'll drop this play and that play. It has to be a tough place where people go, yeah, we were in a game there at least. Too many people have come to Goodison this season. It's been too easy for them.
Much too easy.
Much too easy.
Yeah.
You know, there's loads of games. So we can pick up an extra, we could easily pick up an extra 6 to 9 points easily.
10.
Easily. No, yeah, 10. Yeah. 10's realistic.
Yeah.
And then that,
I was actually on the 10 easily. And that's with just when you look at what we've done.
And then we've won 2 away games.
Yeah.
So that gets you to 40 points straight away. Yeah. And if you've got 40 points by April, then you can kick on then knowing you're safe and you don't get these pressurised games.
That's right.
And then that's the basis to go, right? And that's what all that of like Wolves, Palace, even Bournemouth have done this. Bournemouth lost the last 4 since they mathematically were safe.
Still got 39.
They've lost the last 4 because, you know, our fans don't think would allow us to do that, by the way. But that's where we have to get back to, and then that becomes the next thing. That becomes the next thing. I know everyone was like, "You've got to have your standards up here," but you've got to walk before you can run. I think that'll be the next thing we need to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because going forward, you know, we can dream bigger over the next 5 years or whatever, but the starting point for this just needs to be stability and just a little bit of progress, move in the right direction. Just show that, you know, the club's being ran well. We can see the small changes. A lot of them will take years to really see the benefit of. But right now, let's just be stable. You know, we don't have to get carried away. We don't have to be, okay, we'll get Europe next season. Now we've avoided this. Let's just be comfortable. Let's just... I'm not saying, you know, this has to be Everton forever, but right now, let's take nothing for granted. Let's just be happy, hopefully, that we won't be in this position again next season and just have a comfortable, quiet season.
Do you know what, mate? That was wise words from a young mind, if you like, with one exception that experience is going to contradict. Yeah, that the improvements that need to be made that'll drive material differences on the football field will not take years to show results. They can actually be done in months.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I just think some of our maybe wider complaints with the board may take a few years. If we're looking at recruitment of young players and
I mean, clearly young players and making money out of player trading takes time, but historically, and we've just had one go again, right? Yeah. We've been producing the players, but the revolving door of managers who are not particularly interested in developing players. Look, Sean Dyche, as a manager, doesn't trust youth. They're kids, and this is a man's game, you know, and so on. So that won't change. People having that attitude. Yeah. But what can change is the ability to make decisions. Sometimes they'll be right and sometimes they'll be wrong. But the fundamental challenge we've had is we haven't been making decisions. Things have just been happening until the owner gets, you know. So, yeah, you're right. There's real structural stuff that needs to be done. But we shouldn't have to wait years to see a real difference.
And also, if you make that decision once, and it's successful, then you just carry on from there, don't you? It's once you've got that, and it's the problem with Everton is like the flip-flopping from one thing to the other thing. How are you ever going to get?
Absolutely. Failure's okay if you fail quickly and you learn from it. If you fail slowly and don't learn anything, guess what? You keep doing the same thing.
If you fail,
and that's what we've done. We've made the same mistakes.
If you fail, and it's because
for a number of years,
the opposition are better than you.
It's life.
But it's fair, Then it's like, but the failures are yours of the making, and you have got players that are there, you know, whoever they are. You know, and I know people say, look at the bench. Why wasn't there Stanley Mills on the bench yesterday and Sunday and these kind of things? These are the things you can go away and look at now, and maybe they're the things that we ain't looked at last year. So hopefully that's the way it is. Let's just have a look at the stats from the match winner, the Corey. There we go. 36, not many touches at all. 2 key passes, 2 shots on target, 1 goal, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles. But he obviously last week signed a new contract, extended the contract for another year. But when you think about it, he is, or has been, Sean Dyche's most important player.
Yeah.
Because he's been the only one who scored goals out of midfield, you know, from the central areas. Obviously, Dwight McNeil's been a part, but he's done it. And also, when he wasn't in the team fell apart. That was the stickiest period for Sean Dyche at Everton, really, was when he wasn't in the team.
He got himself sent off. That team
just fell apart completely when there was no one to take his place. And he proved again with the goal. And when you think back, you know, we said, someone needs to take responsibility? But he sort of has the whole time, hasn't he, John? Because this was a guy who was out the door under Frank Lampard. He was about to go to Fulham. And he's come back. The manager realised how important he was, come back, and he's ended up being the match winner, playing in a role where we all thought when we bought him,
that's what he was for.
That was what he was going to be for.
Absolutely, yeah.
The thing as well with Doucouré is Dyche's use of Doucouré has completely shattered the idea very early on as well that no one could have got better out of this group of players. Was there the player Lampard wasn't even using? You know, had a lot of people saying Lampard's getting the most out of these players. The problem's the players, and one of the problems is the players. But Lampard wasn't getting the most out of them, because there's a player who has been one of our most key players. We've missed him when he's not been in. He's not been perfect. We said last week about stuff he'd got wrong in the game, but got goals since he's come back into the squad. Scored an absolute peach of a goal on Sunday as well. Without him, would he be in the Championship right now? Quite possibly, yes. So that from Dyche, and you know, it does take leadership from Dyche to bring him back in as well, because it could be easy to say the last fella didn't rate him, there must be a problem with him, and you know, not just take that and run with it, but then sort of be on the lookout for anything that can confirm that idea that maybe he's got an attitude problem, something like that. But you know, he's came in, he's gave him a clean slate, and
I don't think it was I don't think it was a. It
not
wasn't,
that as
no,
such,
no, no. But it reminds me similarly of when. Reminds me of a manager not being able to deal with a big personality, and it happened under Martinez with Sylvain Distin. It's true. Not being able to deal with the personalities, and I think Sean Dyche allows the players to be. Themselves. He says it himself. I'll go in and allow them to have their little rant and rave, and then maybe I'll come in. You hear that from a lot of big managers, actually. I think it's the same with. I think you know, it's come out, you know, after a game that him and Lampard had a shouting match, because he basically said this isn't good enough. And Lampard thought it was.
Therefore, I'm not going to play you anymore.
Yeah, and therefore it's
crazy.
Like, I'm going to be the child and not play you.
Yeah. And
I think, again, it's about personalities. It's about these people who think they understand, and they take, you know, instead of going, well, I'll take what you say into consideration. And he has been such an important player. Another player who's been important the last few weeks is James Garner. Have a look at his numbers. 57 touches, 2 out of 4 long balls, shots on target 1. Tackles 2, clearances 4. But for a player, once again, to be playing into a side in the wrong position like he did last week, and I think he's another sort of somehow players. The manager's giving the players a chance. This is a player who's nowhere near the team due to injuries. After that back injury, he's come back in, and obviously, again, this is someone the manager could have just gone, "You're a young lad. You weren't bought. You're not my player. You're the last fella's player.
That's right.
Don't really know what to do with you." Coming to the side when Doucouré went out, funny enough, but has managed to stick around the first team where the manager's gone, you know what, I'm willing to change the way we play because you are on it all the time. I mean, someone told me last week that his stats weren't too dissimilar to Tom Davies's stats being in the side, but I think it's just because of how he carries himself during the game. He understands the urgency of the situation. He'll make sure he gets his body in the way. He'll make sure he wins a foul. He doesn't allow himself to be pushed around either, which I think at times Tom, when he plays, you know, he does that thing where he goes, boom, falls over, expects a foul because he knows he can't get away from himself. James Garner, I think it has got something a little bit about him, and if someone like Onana does leave the football club, I think I'm not saying he's on the same level, but I do think he's got an opportunity to step up. And I thought, and I think a lot of people feel this way, that he was absolutely fantastic on Sunday, John.
I thought he played very well. He was my man of the match. I think perversely, you know, you could turn him into a modern fullback, perhaps, you know. But I think comparing him with Tom Davies is a good analogy, I think, because it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it, isn't it? And he does it in the right way. He has a presence, and he's got some pace, and he's confident on the ball. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the other thing that he did indirectly, Garner, just as did Patterson, for example, was he's a kid box as far as the manager's concerned.
Yeah.
The manager had no choice but effectively to put him in. But then the manager goes, actually, no, you're all right. And I think that's really important that this manager's shown, well, if you prove to me that you're worthy, then I will play you. Even if you believe 16, I'll play you. But you've just got a higher hurdle to get over because this league is fundamentally about experience, isn't it? But, go.
I think what you said was spot on about it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. And you can compare him to Tom Davies and say, oh, they complete the same amount of passes. But you look at James Garner, he's completing passes in situations where some of our other players probably give the ball away.
Yes,
how
true.
he keeps the ball, he does it with a certain level of composure.
He looks
that
after
I wouldn't
it,
expect from other players. And I do think he brings a composure on the ball that we don't have in our midfield. Because we don't
you're also right. Yeah.
And, he's not, a silky footballer, but he is that more than Idrissa Gana or Amadou Onana or Abdoulaye Doucouré are. And there is just a confidence on the ball that I really like. There's a little bit of street footballer to him. I think there's a confidence and a bravery.
He's a young man as well.
And the good first touch. And I quite like James Garner. And will he need to add more to his game? Yeah, he will. But for a lad who's come in midway through the season, last 2 games he's played a full-back. He couldn't have asked more from him.
I mean, he's only just turned 22.
I was going to say,
he's played.
21? Yeah, 22.
He's never played in the Premier League before, really. A couple of games for Manchester United. Yes, he helped Forest last season, but these were big moments for him. These were huge. He's never experienced this before. He's experienced like positive times being around Manchester United.
Promotion,
helping Forest get promotion.
Yeah.
Going into, and then he's experienced. He's missed loads of the season. The manager who bought him's been sacked. New manager, will he fancy me? Will he not fancy me? Not being in the team, then was on when he come back was on the bench, not really getting a chance.
Yeah.
Because the manager likes fit players, not just fit players. And then part of a big pressurised situation like that, I thought he stood up to the task.
I thought he did
brilliantly.
And a player you can trust to play in a different position.
That's the key. Trust.
That is a massive. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
The manager's not just gone, well, I'm going to play 2 games in a row, high profile, the Wolves away game. I'm going to play you out of position. I'm going to play you out of position in the biggest game that kid's ever played in. Let's get it right. And you're playing at right wing back. That's massive.
And they targeted him in the first half.
They did, because he thought he could play that ball, and he never let it get back past him once, because he does have good awareness. And that's what actually, when I look at him and think you're a nice, tidy player, but I think he's got a general sense of
he knows where he is, and where other people are.
And I think that's important when you're not blessed by...
You're not coached with that.
Well, when you're not blessed by loads of pace, your positioning becomes hugely important. And I do like how positive he is on the ball. And he does have a little bit of tenacity. He's not like a narc. He's not like someone who's going to get into someone. But he does have that thing of like, you're not beating me to this ball. And I think that's important, especially for this. And he'll become invaluable next season with that ability to say, well, you're playing centre midfield today, but we might need you on the right-hand side.
Cover the winger.
Right-hand side to play. Well, no, to play sort of like as an inside wide player, someone who starts on the right, but to keep the shape rather than being a winger, let the full-back on the outside again. I think that's invaluable, and to only be 22 as well, that's really important.
Cool. I think one thing he does as well is when he does win the ball back, he sets himself up well for his next first touch or his pass. He, like you say, reads the game. He knows what he's doing next. And I'm quite a big advocate for stats. They've absolutely got the place. There's a reason why every football club uses them, but that's not something that'll necessarily show up in stats. When he does win the ball back, what he does with it after that, is he's setting himself up well for it, just with his body language, his positioning, and the player he's picking out. He's not just picking out a player; he's picking out the right one.
Yeah,
stats are just one lens that you see things through,
and they're a very useful lens.
And they are useful. But you can't live by them.
No. But it was he was worth his weight in gold. As obviously Dwight McNeil was on the other side, again playing in an unfamiliar position. Well, not unfamiliar, but taking something a little away from your game, but saying you've got to do everything today, mate. So they were massively important. But it's over. We can move on now. It's over for we say never again, but please never again. Just get us to that level where we can just take a breath. And you talked about it before, Jack. Taking time, but the new stadium can be that catalyst to just move us forward very quickly. And now we've given ourselves another year, a bit of breathing space. Last week there was well, it wasn't talk. There was it was confirmed that we'd taken out a loan, which I'm sure me and John will get into more, or of that. MSP can be the next thing, and then just all these little things can move us along. And I think the expectations aren't like we need to be in Europe now.
No.
Because I think we're past that. I think we're like, we know how low we've sunk. We need to make our way up. Let's just have a look at the match stats from the game. There you go. 13 shots to 7, 6 on target to 2, 1 big chance, 38% possession, which I always think is the sweet spot, 38 for us. I always think it is. I think it's a good place. There you go.
Is the goal supposed to be the big chance?
Yeah. No, it mightn't have been actually.
It might be the
great chance.
I would have thought
the grey one's the big chance.
That's
not really a chance.
No, that's right.
Stats, man, they're just weird, aren't they? They're just weird. There you go. We'll be continuing over on, because we're currently live on Toffee TV Premier. If you want to become a member, the link in the description. We don't slow down in the summer, by the way. We don't just go up. We don't go for 2 months. We're not doing nothing. We will have stuff on there every single day in the summer. So if you want all your latest news and everything, because this is where everyone's like, what? No, where's the new kit? Where are we going pre-season? Who are we buying? Who are we selling? What's going on? That's where you'll find it all over on Toffee TV Premier. This is the good bit now. This is the bit where everything is like not real. So you can just imagine scenarios. We're going to sign Neymar. We're gonna get this player. Michael Keane's going to go for 20 million. This is where the fun begins. So make sure you check us out over on Toffee TV Premier. We're going to continue over there. The link is in the description if you want to join us, and the QR code will be coming up on the screen in a moment. See you later.
Excellent.